it seems. So ping pong, there we go. We're gonna zoom it in a bit. So we're gonna be using PUG, and that is npmjs.org/packages/PUG, I believe. Should be here. No, PUG, this one. Oh, I did it wrong. We're going to use this instead of, we were going to use, not that, EJS. We were going to use EJS, but I've used it for years and it's trash. So we're not going to use EJS. It's not trash, it's just ugly. It gets hard to maintain after a while, and it isn't the nicest syntax. So let me show you what the syntax looks like for both of them. So we're going to go, EJS, embedded JavaScript versus PUG, whatever PUG means. Okay, so EJS, it looks like this, versus, let's see, code. So the syntax, you can look at it. I actually haven't used this much before, so it's something I need to learn. We're gonna go into mixins now. These are quite interesting. This is how the syntax looks like, and this is how the EJS syntax looks like. It's quite messy, and I'll show you more what it looks like. So web app is private. We'll go into the depths of hell right now, so put a hazmat suit on because we're going in. So this is what EJS looks like. Complex, yeah, right here. Partials. Yeah, you've seen enough, I think. Okay, I'll show you a GitHub-/octave.gg. Is that a thing? Yep. So this is a PUG version, PUG document or project, whatever you want to call it, octave.gg. Let's see. It'll be similar to this, but this is the result of this right here, not error. So they've made this in PUG. So readme here. Let's go into that. And all these special little channel things. PUG. General commands. So if we see general commands here and header general commands, that's what it looks like. There we go. Good command. So we're not using this. So let's go and install npm.js. npm I save. So we'll be using Express and PUG. Okay. These are our dependencies. We'll add 2 more to that. So, oh my days, what is this? I don't know. So, there we go. This is what it looks like. Basic syntax, and it's a lot cleaner and easier to maintain. And it's also growing in both languages are growing in popularity, template languages. So we'll come on to what a template language is later. So now we've installed these. So we've got our project here. Technically it's not from scratch because we're using a project, but there is no dashboard right now, so it might be from scratch, we don't know. So create a folder called dashboard, make a file called, we're going to call this server.js. Now this will be responsible for running the server. Now what is a server? First we need to import and then we'll talk more. So express equals require express, which is our package, and then const app equals express. So express is a function. So express on its own gives us a few interesting things. So this is the router, but we don't need to use that yet. So app.get. So get is a GET request. If I go to google.com, that's a GET request to https google.com. Now a post request can't be done in the browser, so we go into slash. Now that is the root route. That is when you connect to google.com without anything here like slash mail or something like that. So this takes a request and a rec and a res, a request and response. The request is what the client, the actual request being sent to this route, and the response is what we respond with. So if we respond with hi or hello world, we're going to do that. So now if we go to, oh, we've missed something, hang on, there is no server running, so we type app.listen 3000. This is the default port that many websites or projects use. So we're gonna type const port equals 3000 for now. Okay, so app listen port. Okay, so if we go to localhost 3000, let's go there, see what happens. Nothing happens. Why does nothing happen? Okay, we're gonna log when that happens just to make sure that nothing is happening. But the server's down, so that means we haven't started the server yet. Server started. Let me do template literals. Server started on port. So there we go. Now we are not expecting for it to work. Let's just confirm that. Why is it not working? Because it's completely separate from every other file, and we need to let bot.js know that it exists. So just require. I personally don't like how this is, how we're not using it, but we'll just type it here. I don't like how that's aligned, but there we go. So now it's actually connected. Let's remove the dot. So server started on port 3000. Now bing, hello world, res dot. The response will be sent with hello world, just as text. So console.log, server started on port. And if we want port 6942, 69420, whatever you want to call it, hello world. And now if we go in 3000, it's gone. So there we go. We don't need that. So now we've got our server, basic server. So we want to look at what this is, just a text, plain text. And if we inspect, it's just a body that says hello world right here. So we want to improve that. P, is that a paragraph tag saying test? So this is a paragraph tag. If we inspect it, p test. Now let's use template literals here. P test. Let's do a list. If you see, there's a list here. So we'll mimic this, I guess. Mimic is the word. So unordered list. We'll make an unordered list. and then we'll have one list item here that says hi, and then we'll just do that. There we go. Now what is going to happen? It's just a list. It's just a list that says hi. Now if we want a h1 tag, I hope you see what's going on here at this point. List. So we have loads of h1s, and then one h1, sorry, and then loads of list items, and this is being rendered as HTML. Now that is interesting, that is cool. We could type variables in here like name. Let's make a variable called name. This is dynamic rendering. Cool name that no one asked for. Okay, there we go. Now we have a name, and that's gonna say cool name that no one asked for. As that is dynamic, it's using a JS variable, JavaScript variable. Now that's cool, but we want this in separate files, and that will be separation of concerns, and that's what we want. So how we do that is, let's refresh. So it's rendering HTML instead of just plain text. Now we make a folder called views. Now what views is, it's the default directory when we type res.render, response render. It looks in this by default, and if we type test.html, so if we type res.render test.html, which is in the views directory, remember, test.html in views directory. Sorry if the keyboard is very loud, I may have the loudest keyboard. So we don't have the module HTML, so we can't actually use that. So we are missing something else, which is app.use, use view engine. Now we could type HTML, that's not going to work unfortunately, because we need HTML as a package, which we don't have. We're going to use PUG, which we installed. PUG, you need it installed for it to work. So now that's not going to work unfortunately. app.set view engine. So we're going to type we can just type test.pug. So now test, or we can just type pug for now, just to show you. So failed to look up test.pug, in this directory here. And why is that? We have a problem here. App.set, I believe we can set views to dir name plus views. Now dir name should be this folder, but I'm not sure. Oh, it is. Okay, there we go. Test HTML in views directory. So we're just going to commit this. Getting started, or something unhelpful. There we go. So PUG. No, PUG. Hang on. So we're going to use this. It's just snippets that make it easier. So we'll keep that there. There we go. So we've got our first PUG file. So res.render, and we're going to type name test. Okay, let's make it more exciting. Name that no one asked for. Okay, so we got a name that no one asked for. So now, this is the syntax right here. We'll go into getting started. This is the syntax for dynamically displaying or rendering variables passed in through this render function right here. So, test. This should not work. We don't have a variable called test. It just does nothing. So if we type name, bing, hang on. So name, this is the render. It says name that no one asked for. Now, let's just rename this to index or home.pug, which should be the home page. Now, so we got the snippets going on here, so we don't need test.pg, we can just type test and that will do. Failed to look up test. I renamed it to home, so there we go. So that renders as this name that no one asked for. It's quite interesting actually. Now it just renders as a tag. This is a tag like h1. So if we put h1, this is the text content of the tag. This is a tag on its own, and this is the content of the tag. So now we have it rendered. Now, it doesn't look very nice. It doesn't look nice at all, and I do have a plan here for what it will look like. So, and that uses getbootstrap.com. We're going to be using this. I've used it for years. It's very good. And this is how we'll import it. Now, I'm not sure if this will work at all. Oh, it does work. So we can just paste in normal scripts and style sheets. This is just a style sheet here. Okay, hang on, there we go. So we shouldn't just have the style sheet. There's also a JavaScript. We'll copy all of these. Here we go. So paste. So jQuery $. So jQuery allows us to select elements instead of document.query selector. Allows us to select DOM elements like that in a dynamic way and a shorter way. So we're going to show it. We'll be using it a bit, but not much in this video / stream / course / whatever it is. So there we go. Name that no one asked for. Okay. So now, this is the starter template for that we'd use if we was using EJS, but we're not using EJS. We are using PUG, and this is a PUG snippet, so you just type PUG, you just type doc, should be a doc type here, so title that no one is a word asked for. So if we type that, title that no one asked for, so we have our correct syntax here. Now we want to move this to the top up here, and I'm going to use the PUG syntax here. I believe it looks like this. And then it uses commas after each attribute. So let's quickly do that. We don't need these closing tags, remember. Control D on Windows to select multiple items. It gives you 2 cursors, and hold Alt and click to also have 2 cursors in a place. So now we have name that no one asked for. Great. We've got our starting document here. It's minified a bit, as you can see. There's no spaces, which is another cool benefit of using PG. So we've got our head. We've got this all filled in here, and then in our body tag we've got h1 name. I'm gonna do that so we don't have the extra indent at the bottom. So we have our get route at the root. So we've got name that no one asked for. Now we have this core font, and this is the default font that Bootstrap uses, as you can see. Hang on, we go into body to see that font family. It's this. Now body font family uses the same one here. So it uses lots of different ones. Sejo UI. It seems like it's a new one every day to me. But yeah. So what we want to do, we want styling. So we want to use a Jumbotron. Now what is a Jumbotron? This is what a Jumbotron looks like. I'll show you another example, 2PG. So this is a Jumbotron, I believe. So Jumbotron, this is an advanced version that we are going to, and the desired effect we're going to use. So we close this down, and we are going to attributes. Okay, so we're going to go into home.pg. Now delete this body. We don't need anything in here for now. We'll handle users later. So we need a Jumbotron, and then we're just going to have it like that, and then test. Now I don't know what that's going to do at the minute. Test, but we're going to make a paragraph tag in the Jumbotron. Let's check what that's going to do. Okay, that makes a Jumbotron. That's cool. p.lead, I believe is the syntax. So lead is used here, and if we inspect, it adds the class lead. Let's see, p class lead test. So we have a Jumbotron and a lead class with test. We could copy and paste it, but it's not compatible at the minute. Yeah. So now we have lead. P class lead, so display 4. That is the title. Hello world. We're not going to type hello world though. We're going to type h4 inside the Jumbotron, h4. 1PG, that is our bot name. Very good bot. Okay. Now this is just a usual h4. We want a h1 actually, because this is our main heading of the dashboard page. h1 dot display 4. This will give it the class display 4. Now there is a problem here. We want it centered, but we'll get onto that in a minute. So p.lead, the best bot in the known universe and the Milky Way. There we go. Known fact. Now, let's see if this adds multiple classes. I believe it should add multiple classes. So, we've got a Jumbotron. It should have Jumbotron and test, which we have here, which is it's very clean syntax. But we need a way to navigate. We need a navbar. Now, we're going to use a navbar, but before we do, we want to include, and it's called an include in PG. So we're going to make a folder inside views called includes. Now this is going to have some useful snippets that we're going to, not snippets, just headers, footers that we're going to use in all our files. So header.pg. So we can just copy that like that. There we go. Now, so we're going to type, we're gonna do that. Okay, so include, it's not includes, it's includes, quite confusing, .header.pg. So currently we don't have anything right now. Now, that's interesting. So we could copy the syntax like this actually. Now what does it render? It actually renders what's in here. Now I have made the mistake of putting body here. Now body auto closes. So we're going to remove that and then paste it in here. So now that should work. Or maybe not. Hang on. Body. So if we go into header. So title here. Body. Oh. Indenting. Indenting is very important. So body is here. So we want, I keep making mistakes, I'm sorry. So we want to include it there, like that. I'll get the tabbing right eventually. There we go. Apologies for that, but now we have our header. We can use this in any file, this header, which allows us to properly use and implement a doc type, HTML doc type, which is the standard of HTML pages. So now we want to includes dot navbar. We're going to make a navbar.pg test test includes navbar.pg. So we've got p-test, that's going to have a paragraph tag with the text test. Let's go. So now we want a very simple navbar, so that's what we're going to do. We can just copy that. Navbar, we don't need it. We need a nav tag and then dot. We can just use that. And then that's a nav, it's not visible yet. Then we want an anchor tag with the class navbar brand. Navbar, there we go. So we have a navbar, let's see that. It's pretty cool. Let's see if we want, let's say we want a dark background. And now it's dark, so we want Navbar dark. And now it's light. So BG light, so we want 1PG as the Navbar brand. So 1PG. Now we want special links on this side as well, but we'll get onto that in a minute. There we go. So we also want these navigation anchor tags like this. So we can use icons and font awesome. Here we go. So we can just type font awesome CDN. There we go. So we have this. We don't want 4.7. We want 5. Version 5, the latest one so far. And they have a lot of premium ones, but we don't want them. And let's turn that off. So here we go. We'll import all of them. It's not the best practice, but we'll use a wide range of them. So we'll separate this. Link rel equals style sheet. Let's add a comma there. href. I'm not entirely sure if a comma is required, but we'll use it just in case. So we have our icons. Now what an icon is, so FA. Now this is the syntax of an icon of an older version. So we'll just type i.fas FA star. That should be a star icon. But should also be here. Let's see. Console. Okay, so oh, that was a JS. Oh my days. I've done that mistake. I make a lot of mistakes. So we copy this and we replace this, or we can just replace JS and CSS. There we go, that will do. So now we have a star icon. Now if we want to see all the icons, we type star. Now this can be painful because there are a lot of pro icons, so we type 3. There we go. Now we have all the icons we can use. Now 1PG best Discord bot. That will be our title, and we'll have a favicon or an icon for that later. So 1PG, that's the brand. Now we want to insert our icons along with some links. So that's what we'll do. So home features like that. So we want a div. We don't have to type div, we can just type this shorthand for a div. A default element is a div. So there we go. So we got a div with class collapse, just collapse, and then navbar collapse. So I'll show you what collapse does in a minute, as we need the full syntax so I can show you. So now navbar item active. There we go. With active, we don't want two active list items with a navbar, because both can't be active at the same time like that. You can't be on two routes at the same time. So navbar expand. So what we want is, we're going to check if we have all of these classes. I think that might be the problem. I think we need navbar expand class. They keep updating the they update it quite a lot, so it makes breaking changes sometimes. So large, it expands at large. So, oh, there it is. Oh, I pranked myself there. So it was hidden. It was there the whole time. So at a certain breakpoint, when the screen's small enough, it's gone. And that is called navbar expand. Let me show you a demo of that. Not on this page. I'll use an old application I have. It should take a while to load up as the Heroku server is sleeping. It does that because I don't pay for it. Now, so this is the first app I've ever made. It's not very good, but here we go. It's okay. So this is what it should be doing. This is its current state right here. So we want an icon that expands it like that. So now we're going to copy and paste this. So button, remove button, span. There we go. So we want the class navbar toggler. And then see if this works. Type button. Navbar nav. There we go. Commas. Ding. Done. Should be done. But we need an ID that is navbar nav, which is here, ID navbar nav. So an ID should look like that. So now we can expand it, and the ID of this, the ID here should be navbar nav, and it points to this. It points to this element which is hidden. So that toggles whether it's expanded or not expanded. So now if we remove these extra JavaScript scripts, it doesn't work. So it relies on Puppet to work, I believe, or something relies on Puppet. I think it's tooltips, which we might use. But there we go. So we're gonna have a link to commands, and then we also want a special little icon i.fas. So let's make sure command terminal. We can have terminal. This we're going to use code. And now FA code, fas.fa code. This is the pattern that you'll see in Font Awesome icons, which makes it a lot easier to use. So now commands, we don't need that. We can just type it p commands that we do. That'll do. Or expand so it's not on a different line. And then we could do with margin left 2. So this adds 2 margin to the left of it. Let's look at that. If you don't know the CSS box model, it adds 2 margin to the left. Now if we add margin 2, ML2, as you can see the margin is increasing and the max is 5, but we don't need that. We only need 1. We could add padding, that would be more suitable. Margin might be a bit overkill, so padding does the same thing in this context. So utilities, let's go on that. Margin MR2, MR3. Overview, let's see.